Running JavaScript on our websites presents risk, especially if that JavaScript isn't written by us. It's almost impossible to completely remove risk, but we want to decrease it as much as possible. When we talk about supply chain risks, we're thinking specifically about code written by third parties, people and businesses other than us. So what are the risks? Number one is loading those libraries like jQuery, React.js and Moment.js from external domains. It's common to use content delivery networks or CDNs to load JavaScript libraries. You point your HTML to an external server and that JavaScript loads in your page. Like anything on the internet, that process is safe until it's not. If someone maliciously alters that JavaScript, your page will still load it. JavaScript can control anything in a web page from how it looks to what it does. It can redirect users, send credit card details to different servers, and maybe read cookies. Bad stuff. So the CDN you use is from a massive company. You trust it, so do you really need defenses? Well, maybe one of their programmers falls for a convincing phishing email. They get the credentials stolen, and the attacker uses those credentials to change the JavaScript. A recent example, polyfill.js. You could load it into your site from polyfill.io. In 2024, that domain was sold to a Chinese company, who continued to allow people to load polyfill.js from that domain. Very kind of them. They did modify it slightly. If someone using a mobile device accessed the website that loaded polyfill.js, then it had a tendency to redirect them to scam and gambling websites. Over 100,000 websites were affected by this. So what's our defense? First, we can copy the script and serve it from our own domain instead of the CDN. Then only we can change it, so we've reduced our risk. We miss the benefits the CDN gives us, but get more security. Second, if we really want to keep using that CDN, we can make sure scripts aren't changed without our knowledge. To do that, we want sub-resource integrity, or SRI. That relies on a hash of the file, which is a string of characters generated by putting that version of the file through an algorithm. Any changes to the file generate a different hash, so we can tell when something changes. We can generate hashes using openssl, which works well if we need to automate it. You can get openssl for Linux and Windows. If you're on Windows and you've got GitHub installed, then you can probably find it here. Here's the command to generate a hash from a local copy of a JavaScript file. I'll add that to the description below. You can also use a website. You enter the location. It gives you the complete HTML, so it's added the hash to integrity. Notice that you need to add the algorithm in there too. It's also setting cross-origin to anonymous, which you'll need to make it work. That can then be added to your HTML page to safely load the script. There are, however, downsides to using SRI. Problem 1. If your hash is wrong, the script doesn't load. That might break your website. You might be able to craft some JavaScript to check if the library has actually loaded. Here's a good jQuery example. If it doesn't load, then it'll write HTML into your page to try to load it from somewhere else. Just be careful where that somewhere else is. That's also going in the description below. Problem 2. JavaScript libraries aren't always versioned. You might load jQuery 3.7 from its CDN and add an SRI hash. When you want to use 3.7.1, you change the HTML to load that, update the SRI hash, and everything works. Some libraries don't work like this though. You might use JavaScript from a company that allows your website to access their service. Google Analytics, for example, the JavaScript loads from their website and they can change it as often as they like. If we use an SRI hash, that script will stop loading as soon as it changes. The worst thing is, there is no fix for this. The defenses we've looked at do decrease your risk for versioned libraries, but not for this. That is unfortunately as good as it gets for now.